Waiting for the song to end. Okay. So. I just finished the GQuuuuuux episode for the week. So sadly we are doing this week to week. So the ominous music is from 40K. That's why it's ominous. Checking something real quick. But yes, I am alive. I'm here. I haven't streamed for a little bit. I was kind of getting people out. I want a little bit of a break. Yeah. So I finished the first episode, and I've been sitting here, and I've just kind of been ruminating, like just kind of chewing up what I saw. Like, where to begin? I have to say, I want to start with the most obvious thing. Aesthetically speaking, it is still pretty rough. How do I put this? I still can't get over the well, I can't say I can't get over it. Now I have more of a picture of what exactly the director and Anno are going for, because Hideaki Anno is not directing this. He is the writer and I think an executive producer on it. But I kind of get the idea of what they're going for in regards to the art style. They are going for, between that and the coloring and the usage of blacks and, as in colors, not people, as in like the usage of shadows properly, and their usage of lighting and shading and things along those lines. What they're trying to do is they're trying to give this a more dreamlike feel to it, more ethereal feeling. It's still, in a weird way, like it still kind of looks like a Studio Trigger production. And for those of you who, if you didn't watch the video where I talked about the idea that this show could end up being incredible, I am not a fan of Studio Trigger. I have always felt like they are the most overrated animation studio on the planet. I really don't think they're that great. I don't think that there's a show of theirs that I've ever watched that I've ever been blown away by. I enjoyed Edge Runners, but I wasn't blown away by it. It had problems. But I feel like, in an interesting way, this show is using the style a lot better than a lot of other shows would be using this more cartoony sort of an art style. And it's kind of an interesting place to be, because I'm of the opinion that sometimes art styles get used for their own sake, like just because they're popular, right? like a lot of people, a lot of things like people will use certain styles because it's the style to use. A good example is photorealism in video games. Right now, photorealism is the style. That's it. It is the style. And so a lot of game developers are chasing it for one reason or the other. And sometimes to the detriment of the product, sometimes it works quite well. But it is a style. Now, the this has its own an art style that, like I mentioned, it kind of came across like they are chasing Studio Trigger. However, it manages to work because it still has exaggerated characters, at least in the first episode. But at the same time, there's also some elements of it that kind of feel like your stereotypical anime. There's a lot of kooky and zany things that are in it. With that said, where's the new show streaming on Amazon? With that said, there was also kooky and zany stuff at the start of Double Zeta, and I love Double Zeta. So, on that particular method, I need to let it cook for a bit. What I will say is this, is I'm of the opinion that the art style, while I'm not the biggest fan, it might end up working in its favor. Because admittedly, when you look back at Gundam's art style wasn't really that different from Star Blazers, which came out, I think, a year or two prior. Because there was definitely a sort of, we would call it like the retro anime style that they very much use in Gundam, but it still had its own art style as well. So it set itself apart, but not by a huge amount, I would say. So in that, we're kind of in a similar spot. I will say the one benefit of the art style is it definitely shows age a lot better. You wouldn't think that Shalia Ball was like in his early 30s in the original Gundam. He looks like 50. In this, even though he has the silver hair, in the face he looks a lot younger, so you could buy it. You can differentiate age a little bit better than some other anime shows that I've seen. But, sorry, my neck is kind of stiff. Regardless, it's like, I'm still having a hard time getting past it, admittedly. Like, because I'm still not the biggest fan, because I would have much preferred a style that was a little bit closer to something like Unicorn in regards to visuals. But it is what it is. After seeing it in motion, I don't hate it. One thing I will say, the mobile suits in this are they are better in motion, I guess would kind of be applicable, but not really. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, whenever the GQuuuuuux gets into combat, it really, honestly, because of the way that the colors are laid out, it feels like a mess of parts. And that I'm not a fan of. So the titular GQuuuuuux, I'm still not sold on the design. I did think it was interesting that when the Saikamu turns on, that the horns become horns, and you actually see its face. I thought that was kind of interesting. So that was a thing. This is so weird to me. I don't think I've ever been this. I'm not speechless. I'm just having a very hard time finding words for kind of my feelings on it, because I'll say this just in general. I don't know what to think about it. Like, it's not a bad episode. Honestly, it's not a bad episode. But the problem that I have with it is that, okay, let me talk about the CG animation. The CG animation, I will say, it looks a lot better than what Seed Freedom did. I have to say that. Seed Freedom's looked like ass. It looked really, really fucking bad. Whereas Unicorns looked good, right? This is closer to Unicorn in regards to the CG animation. So that's going to be fine. I have no doubt going forward that they're doing it right. Because one thing that I have noticed that they're doing, and this was the problem that Freedom did, is Freedom didn't take the time to get the lighting right on the suits to basically hide the fact that you know, or kind of like help get rid of the awkwardness of 3D CG, right? What they did in Seed Freedom is they just slapped cell shading on it, and they're like, "Oh, we'll call it a day." Now it looks hand drawn. No, it fucking didn't. No, it did not, sir. So this looks a lot better than that. And it is. Ask me questions after I'm done getting my thoughts together, guys. Because I'll answer questions afterwards, and we'll stick around for a little bit. But I think the reason that I'm having a hard time putting it together is that there are parts of this that I really like. I really like the idea that our lead character, whose name escapes me at the moment, but I admittedly don't take this as a knock against the show. I am really bad with names. Really bad with names. So, sometimes I have to have notes whenever I'm doing a review of what somebody's name is and what they look like so I don't forget. So that's a me problem. But regardless, how do I put this? The story plot is interesting. I like the idea that they are looking for Char. That is the thing. They are looking for Char. And they have brought along a prototype Gundam from the Flanagan Institute that is, well, it's a prototype. And it's got a experimental SciComm system. And the SciComm system in this is used specifically for the mobility of the suit. One thing that I noticed on the Gundam itself, there's a lot of gaps in its armor. I am wondering if they're doing the thing like they did with the Barbatos, where as the show goes on, they're going to actually, it's not fully assembled yet. Like, they're going to actually finish the assembly on it. As the show goes on, it's going to have different forms. I have a feeling they're going to do stuff like that. Because they also did the same thing with G-Witch, admittedly. And somebody brought up G-Witch's art style earlier. I will flat out say I prefer G-Witch's art style to this. I would also say that I'm a little bit bummed that it's the opening of this is not as intense as the prologue to G-Witch. I was a little bummed out about that. I think that's my main issue. It feels very ethereal. They are trying to build an almost dreamlike feeling to everything. And I think the reason that they are doing that is because the lead character is suffering from a sort of dysphoria. Well, actually, no, that's giving it too much trouble. She's trying to figure it out. She's dealing with the fact that life on the colonies is in a way inauthentic. The gravity that you have is simulated. The air that you have, it's not Earth's air. You know, it's not the light is not actually sunlight. The water that they have, even if they put salt in it, is not seawater. Everything is a simulation, a simulacrum of something else. It is not the authentic experience. And the feeling that I get is that she feels like her life feels fake. And that is really cool. She is effectively dealing with disassociation from her entire existence. And just because she lives on a colony. And I think that's a neat idea. Because we always hear during these shows, souls are weighed down by gravity, blah, 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 blah. You're weighed down by Earth's gravity, so on and so forth. So her soul is she's the opposite of what someone who follows Elsism in the standard Gundam timeline. She's the opposite of what they feel, because that's the whole thing. Your souls are weighed down by gravity is an Elsism statement. The idea being that humanity is meant to go out into space, is meant to colonize space, meant to live in space, and the Earth. We grow beyond Earth. She feels the opposite, it seems like. She feels like being out in space is kind of a lie, in a sense. Like her life feels like a lie because of this. And it's bothering her. Now, they didn't go too deep into it. I'm going to say this right now. If they go the rest of the show without going deep into this, I'm going to be pissed. Because this is a really cool idea. Because it's the opposite of Gundam. Like, Universal Century stuff up to this point. Like, fucking everything from the original Gundam all the way up until Unicorn. They go over that sort of philosophy. They don't drop it until F91. Because in F91, we find out that new types have largely dropped off and aren't really much of a thing anymore. They're very rare. In fact, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 new types. Well, no, there's a few in not Zanzibar. Zanzibar's Metal Gear. Zanskir. There's a few in Zanskir, but there's less than 10 from F91 and Crossbone and Victory. Like they're a lot more downplayed, to the point where the fact that Uso Irwin being one is a big fucking deal in Victory. It's a huge deal. They're like, everybody around him when they basically kind of confirm it is like, whoa, really? You gotta be fucking kidding me. A new type? I thought they were all gone. Because the last prominent new types were Seabook Arno and oh my god, why am I forgetting his name? See, this is what I mean by me being that bad with names. I have nominal aphasia. I forget. Tobia. Seabook and Tobia are the most notable ones. And then there's one more, I think, in the most recent Crossbone manga before the one that's in production right now. I can't believe I forgot that. I love Tobia. What the fuck is wrong with me? But anyway. Yeah, and Iron Mask is a cyber new type. So there's very few. Like, it's very rare. So this is the opposite of that. But she's a new type. Cecily? I don't think Cecily was a new type. I don't think she was. But regardless, the the shift to me is very intriguing. So that's really cool. Um, we've got this thing called Clan Battle, and the basic idea seems to be that it's Gundam fist fight or mobile suit fist fights. I am kind of hoping that they don't focus on that too much, because it seems like everything at this point is a mystery, and we're not really getting what I would call long-term conflict coming in. That's the one thing I'm noticing, is that they're not setting up for long-term conflict, because there's no war. The 1-year war is over. It's been over for a while now. You're inside 6, which is a neutral colony, and they actually take time to mention that it's a neutral colony. And then they have whatchamacallit, they have this thing where like there's no mention of really any sort of conflict between the Federation and Zeon at this point. The one thing that they notice, that they say, is that, you know, even though Zeon, they flat out said Zeon won the war. Maybe that's a Space Noid perception, but the fact of the matter is that it's like they don't feel free. So the question is that what is the long-term conflict going to be? Is it going to be this GQuuuuuux, and Xavier already told me that the Red Gundam gets a pilot too in the next episode. So is it going to be that? And they're up against Zeon? Is the whole show going to be where the fuck is Char Aznable? And what the fuck happened? Are we going to get really into new typing? You know, stuff like that is what I'm curious about. I want a good war, because in my opinion, Gundam is at its best when it's a war story. I will say this right now. If they make the mistake of focusing on Clan Battle for more than the first season, in fact, I'm going to say more than half of this first season, if they make the mistake of doing that, this show will suck. That's the problem. Because the thing about it is that it needs a bigger conflict. Because I'm curious about this whole thing where they flat out say that there's no that they don't know where Char is. I hope that that's not it. You know, because I'm interested in it, in what's going on. Because when she unlocked the Psycom and went out into space, she started seeing things. And she started seeing the Red Gundam. It makes me wonder if we're dealing with a Gundam Phoenix type situation, where Char's soul, he died when he fought his sister, and his soul is trapped in the mobile suit. I wonder if that is the case. So, but I'm praying that that's not the whole thing. I'm begging them, please do not make the whole thing just be where is Char. I would rather see a conflict, an actual conflict. Because, to be honest with you, it's kind of begging for it, honestly, for something beyond Side 6. You know, something's got to happen here. And the funny thing about it, or the one thing I'm curious about, is that is there going to be a whole thing where they have different characters that were in the original show that show up? Because the one thing I'm curious about is who is not alive. Because they captured White Base, We see at the beginning of the show that White Base is now owned by Zeon, and it's still around. Shalia Bull is the captain of it. So does that mean that Bright is dead? Does that mean that Ryu and all those guys are dead? Or are they still alive and they just got captured or something? You know? We probably won't find out till the next episode, because Xavier did not tell me. He probably forgot if they died or not. It's Xavier we're talking about. But, is Amuro still alive? You know? We are now around the time that Zeta would take place. Where's Camille? There's obviously not going to be any Titans. So there's obviously going to be no Ayuk, because there's also no Char. And there's no Amuro. There's no Hayato. They're like, Ayuk and Kuraba aren't going to happen because they don't have their leadership. Is General Revel still alive? Is apparently there's the possibility that what's his face? Degwin might still be alive. And if Degwin's alive, then Revel is probably alive. But are the Black Tri-Stars still alive, or did they die in the war? Is Ramba Ral still alive? You know, and by extent, Haman, his wife. Is Haman Karn somewhere? Because the whole dynamic of the Karn family would be completely different. Because, you know, we don't know what's going on with Axis. Is because Char was at got the Gundam, and he was the guy that was behind a lot of was at a lot of experiments at the Flanagan Institute. Did Haman never get sent there? Yeah, we heard about Makuve. Makuve is still around, so we know he's alive. We see Haros, so he's probably alive and probably rich. That's possible. It is possible that he finished the Haro, and, you know, the whole thing happened. He doesn't get in the Gundam, and he just never sees war. Timeline where Makuve is alive is the darkest timeline. I know, right? So, yeah. So, overall, the more I think about it, the more I think I like it. But this is the one true thing about this, is that I personally am of the opinion that there is a, Caecilia is the leader. I wonder if she killed her brother. I don't think they said that she was the leader. I think she said commander. Or they said commander or something like that. I'd have to rewatch it. But, if they said Supreme Commander in the episode, then yeah, Garma, or, not Garma. Then Giran is probably dead or something like that. I don't know. We'll find out. But regardless, I'm really curious about it. They said Her Excellency. Oh, that just means she's royalty then. So, you know, it would be the same. It would be the same with the others. Yeah, they said Her Excellency. So this means she's part of the royal family. So, yeah, I'm curious about it. I'm curious about what happened. So yeah. How does Gundam with no Amuro get more nuts? No Amuro Ray in the Gundam means that there are several people who were heroes of the Zeon forces that are still alive. That means, obviously, Makuve is still alive. If Makuve is still alive, that means somewhere Lala Soon was never killed. The Black Tri-Stars were never killed. Ramba Ral was never killed. In fact, several Zeon Ace pilots are still alive. Kelly from 0083 still has 2 arms. Ana Velgato would still be alive. because there's no Stardust, there's no Operation Stardust. Who else? This is what I mean by being bad with names, because I'm forgetting her name. Pilots the Gerber Tetra. Why am I forgetting her fucking name? Oh my god. C. McGarrahow. C. McGarrahow is still alive. Garma might still be alive. So on and so forth. Bernie Wiseman would be alive. Because there's no... They wouldn't be developing the Alex. So... There's a lot of people that might still not be dead. You know? So I'm curious who they're exactly going to use. They could use all of them. They could use none of them. You know? Apparently Dozel is dead. People in the comments of my last video said that Dozel is dead. The one monkey from Zeta is still alive. But yeah. I think that my general thoughts are, it's pretty good. I'm not over the moon about it, as I was kind of hoping I would be. But at the same time, I'm not of the opinion that it's not blowing my mind or anything like that. It's not like, I'm not like in this mentality of, oh, holy shit. Like, it could be good. But we'll have to just see what happens. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Somebody says, what confuses me is, why does Char getting the Gundam make him less effective at killing the zombie family? That is the one weird part about it. I wonder if his whole idea was that, like, he was gonna kill them later or something. I don't know. I think they make their timeline with Thunderbolt? No. Thunderbolt's its own thing, Jeremiah. They're not gonna do that. Could be bad, could be like a B tier show. It's really going to depend on how it goes, because admittedly, Jeremiah, Thunderbolt's an alternate universe, completely separate from this or the normal Universal Century. It's not related. Move on. My thought is that it's all going to hinge on the concept past where did Char go. You know, they're going to have to go beyond that. Yeah, he doesn't get the chance as much due to the difference in the changes. Yeah, because he's at the Flanagan Institute for a good chunk of the war. So, how many episodes are we going to get? That I don't know. So, shit. It looks like it is only getting one season of 12 episodes as of right now. It might get multiple seasons as it goes on, but the first season will only be 12 episodes. This is kind of a bummer, in my opinion. I really don't like this whole, like, 12 episode season thing. Like, I feel like you miss a lot. Like, there's not really enough time to get to know characters and things like that. It's unfortunate. Personal guess's show is going to be focused heavy on the new type concept. I'm thinking that's probably going to be a big part of it. The fact that they made a point to say, for Char to say, I saw time, or I can see time, is going to be a big part of it. Like, they're going to futz around with it and how it works. .24 or so is a good sweet spot. I think 24 or so is a good sweet spot for kind of your average television show, but the problem is like not everything paces out that well to 12 episodes. But that's just my 2 cents. Here's the other issue. It's technically 9 episodes since the first 3 were stitched for the movie. Yeah, so people who didn't see the movie, it's going to feel like 12 brand new episodes. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic there. It's going to feel like 12 new episodes. And then for people that did see the movie, you're only going to be really... If you saw the movie, like, I'm guessing you probably don't need to watch for the first 3 weeks. Because what kind of frustrates me is the fact that it's going to be 1 episode a week instead of something you can just binge. Like, that I'm not a fan of. That, granted, they're probably going along with what the broadcast schedule is in Japan. Because it's probably on television in Japan. It's probably not on, so it's probably streaming only in the U.S. Do you think Amuro is going to show up with a recasted VA? Possibly. Because that's the big thing. Like, I'm not super of the opinion that he will because of the Toru Furuya situation. The fact that he voiced that character for 40 years, 50 years, something like that. And, is like, his voice for the character in Japan is iconic. So, I'm curious as to whether or not they will if they do, he will be recast. Because the other thing I'm curious about is the new Super Robot Wars game, because there's never been a Super Robot Wars game without Amuro Ray in it. At least not to my knowledge. I think there's like they always do the like Universal Century Gundam. They always do Getter Robo, and they always do Mazinger. But when they announced the lineups, they announced Getter Arc, they announced G Gundam, and Witch from Mercury. And then they announced a bunch of other shit. Or Battle or Dunbine's one, so I'm cool with that. But yeah, it's I don't know. I love the character of Amuro Ray. So I would like to see him. It makes me curious as to what he would be like without ever experiencing war. He'd be a completely different person, I would think. Because, like, the one thing that Zeta kind of goes over is that because of his experiences in the 1-year war, he kind of feels like that's his lot in life, is to be a soldier. So, what I'm hoping is they use this new universe to tell more alt-UC stories with familiar characters without 45 years of lore baggage. They could do that. I have a feeling that I'm not expecting a ton of characters from the original Gundam to show up. I don't know why. I'm not feeling it. It's not clicking in watching that first episode. Just because of the location of it. Because Side 6 is so far away from where everything else is. Because I don't know if anybody's ever seen a map of the sides in Gundam. We had it in my videos on it. Colony locations. Hold on one second. Here we go. So this is from the Gundam Wiki. So, this is taking place on Side 6, right here. This is the L5 Lagrange point. Side 7, where the Gundam was developed, is over here. And then there's the moon. I'm sorry, there's Lunar 2. So, Side 1 and Side 6 are close to one another. What this tells me is, if there is any one character that I would expect purely based on location that we might see, it's actually Judo. Because Shangri-La is at Side 1. Because Side 1's colony cluster is like significant. It's like 30 colonies or something like that. It's pretty huge. But yeah, Side 6 is neutral territory. Side 1, I think, is not a... I don't know if it's a Zeon colony now or not. We'll have to find out. But... because Zeon, the principality is right here. It's Side 3. So... I'm curious as to what's going on. Because if you're wondering where Camille is at, Camille at this point in time would be at Green Noah. Green Noah is a colony on Side 7, which is Federation territory. So, if there is any one character that is a Gundam pilot that I would possibly expect to show up, it would probably be Judo. And yeah, if Judo shows up and he's still voiced by Kazuki Yao, oh baby, it's Anime Janai, baby. We're back. We're fucking back. So yeah. The amount of manga offshoots they can make out of this will be insane. Yes. Yes, it will. Side 1 was pro-Fed, right? No, it's Side 2. Side 2 had a Federation base. Side 1 might have. I don't remember. There might have been a colony at Side 1 that did. Sides 2 and 3 were Federation. Because in Thunderbolt, that is where the Moore colony was. And that's where E.O. Fleming's father was the guy who ran it. So... But yeah, let's all hope for a Judo Ashta cameo appearance. Then it's peak. Then it is truly peak. It is greatest show ever because Best Boy Judo Ashta is there. Can't believe there are people who say they skipped Double Zeta. What heresy! Heresy, I say. All right. So, looking at my status screen, no super chats to read. I didn't miss anything there. Um. Well, what do you guys think? I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys think about all of this. Because, again, I think it could be really good. Like, my thoughts in the video I put out are still the same. This could be great. It just really depends on how exactly they are going to tell the next parts of the story. Are they going to go down the new type level? Is there going to be more confrontation between the Federation and Xeon? You know, it's kind of curious. Yeah, let it not be G-Witch. That is the big thing. As long as it's not G-Witch, I'm going to be pretty happy. But yeah, not too happy about the fact I can't binge it. Not too happy about the fact that it is the way that it is. So yeah. Well, the recast Sabo in One Piece mean they could recast Amuro. Didn't he get his son take over the role? Or like a relative of his? I forget. I don't watch One Piece, so I have no clue. I just heard that. What's the game on docket tonight? I don't have one. My plan is honestly, the one thing on my mind before I go to bed here in the next few hours is I just played a match of 40K with somebody on Tabletop Simulator, and the army that I built for that particular matchup, I'm not. This is just me in general. This is kind of how competitive I get at points. Is I won the battle, right? Char is recast in GQuuuuuux. Is he? I didn't hear that. I mean, granted, his voice actor is getting up there in age, so, and it wouldn't be the first time that he has turned down voicing Char Aznable, because he didn't voice him in that one fucking the Gunpla show. I forget the name of the one where he and Amuro showed up. One thing you noticed from this episode, the MPs had a certain disdain for refugees. I'm interested in that leads to another conflict. That could be a thing, yeah. I'm wondering. So, but anyway, this is just how competitive I get. I won the match, right? I won. Like I got to a point where I had enough points on the board to where it was a Pry Nexus match, and the goal was to burn the objectives, and I burned every single objective but one, meaning he couldn't capture enough points. He would have to wipe me from the board and to win the match, and he was not able to do it, so he forfeited. So I won, right? But I'm still not happy with the army land. I think it might just be I'm not the biggest fan of chapters in 40K on the tabletop that are non-codex compliant. Who in here plays the 40K tabletop? Does anyone? While people answer that question, I will answer yours. Quick question about Gundam Explained. Are you going to go UC and then AU back to UC like you went with Wing? That's not the plan. The plan is to go straight from Zeta to Double Zeta. What I want to do is I want to go Zeta, and then with Double Zeta, whenever we do first Neo Zeon War, we're going to do Sentinel as part 1. Then part 2, 3, and 4 are the entirety of the Double Zeta anime. So people do play. Okay, I will show you guys a... if I watch the trailer for Yandere Dark Elf... No. Does that really sound like something I would watch? I mean, not really, man. Like, it kind of sounds terrible. And really fucking boring. Anyway, I'm sorry, I sounded kind of snooty when I said that, but it's just kind of like... That sounds like waifu bait. I don't watch waifu bait. Why? That's kind of a silly question. But anyway, this is from a session from yesterday. Thank you so much, Nuclear Pickle. I'm looking forward to everybody seeing it. This is the end of turn 3 in a 40K game. And I am the Smurfs. You see all these space wolves over here? It was a brutal time had by all. I had some very good shooting phases. Brother complains about people's faction choice plays Ultramarines. They're not my main army. Just to be fair, Mensch, they are not my main army. I just tested them out because I heard that the bonuses that Gilliman gives you are kind of bullshit, and they are. They are bullshit. Because what you can do is you can pick 2 of the bomblet targets. So you kill the first one, you can target the second one immediately. So, on this particular roll, what happened was the guy I was playing against was using Logan Grimnar as his leader. And if you notice this Repulsor Executioner right here, that giant las cannon on it, I caught him with that with 2 clean shots, and he just got deleted. So, how do I feel about the Tau? They suck. Stupid commie weeb fish. I don't like them. Never really thought their mecha designs were that great either. Have a good one, Sienna. But yeah, not a Tau fan. Not really. But no, my chapter of choice is the salamanders. Always salamanders. But yeah, don't like the Tau. Don't really like them. Quick recap. Rob, I enjoyed it, but I'm very hesitant about it because I'm still having a hard time getting past the aesthetics. It's kind of a big question mark for me right now. Back to GQuuuuuux, clan battles seem like they are in the show, so we get mecha fights while stuff happens in the background. That is true. That could be the case. I have a feeling that yeah, they're not going to be used long term. At least I hope not, because like the problem with GWitch is with GWitch it went from kind of like its own setup to war crimes at the end of the first season, right? So the end of the first season, we're like, oh shit, the Earthlings have Gundams and they just attacked the Space Noids. We're in for a fucking war. And then they went back to status quo. And it's like, why? The fuck are you doing? You know? Is GQuuuuuux bad? So far, no. It's not bad at all. Is it like the first episode's enjoyable? Felt distinctively not Gundam to you? I disagree. It felt Gundam to me. It's it doesn't start as heavy as other Gundam shows, but it still felt Gundam. Like it still deals with some of the same concepts in Gundam. You know, Zeon is still there. Mobile suits are still there. Crimes were committed against civilians. That was still there. We saw people that were dead in the fucking street because two peacekeepers, quote unquote, were ripping the fucking roofs off of houses. Like there's some. It's not as dark as the original Gundam's opening, but it wasn't bright and shiny either. You know, like at all, man. So I don't know what gave you that perception, man. I disagree. I disagree big time. But yeah, it still has its dark moments. It's not as dark as Zeta or the original Gundam. You know, but it's definitely darker than Double Zeta at the start. You know, as far as first episodes go. Best Quake game and why is it 2? Give me a second to think on that. I've got a really bad itch right here on my neck. I think something agitated it. I'm going to go spray an antiseptic spray on it. You can see that right here, that red bit. I don't know what caused it. I think I got bit by a bug or something. I'm going to go spray some antiseptic on it too. Clean it up. So it doesn't keep bothering me. Be right back. Chair stream. Okay, sorry about that. It was bugging the crap out of me. And yeah, it looks like I got a couple of mosquito bites. But anyway, not even a chair coon to entertain us. It's here. It's just short. It's a smaller chair. I got sick and tired of having gamer chairs, man. Because the thing is like, I don't really ever, like, sit in them properly. That makes sense? You know? Like, I'm always pretty animated. And I prefer to, like, lean on my desk. Because my desk is right here. So I lean on it all the time. So. Have you seen the Mother's Basement video on Gundam? I had to listen to a lot of Jeff's rants when we worked together at Blistered Thumbs. I don't really think I want to listen to more of them. No offense to him, but... Oh, I forgot to mention that. I know the Mother's Basement guy. I know Jeff. He's another guy I worked that I knew from the Channel Awesome days. So, yeah. But yeah, I listened to enough of his rants when we worked together. I don't need more. You know. But regardless, I was in Channel Awesome. Yes, I wrote for Blistered Thumbs, their gaming website. I was one of their editors. I helped run the damn thing, I won't lie. But I tend to downplay myself when it comes to that sometimes. Delicious. So yeah, it is I've not seen it. I have to say this right now, guys. I don't watch other anime YouTubers very often because for a brief time that I kind of looked around to see what others' opinions were, I realized that I couldn't, like, be any more different than a lot of them. Get some Coke in you? Coke is bitter. Coke has a bitter aftertaste. This is something with my taste buds. I hate bitter things. Absolutely despise them. I can't take bitter. Bitter just, ugh. It never tastes good. Some people absolutely love bitter stuff. I am the exact opposite. So yeah, Coke has a bitter aftertaste for me. Vanilla Coke, on the other hand, is impeccable. Like, Coke with things is good. You know, vanilla Coke is good. Cherry Coke is good. Cherry Coke is better than, like, whereas this is the interesting thing. Pepsi does not go well with stuff. Vanilla Pepsi is okay. Pepsi Mango was good. But with other stuff, it's not good. Not as good as Coke is. Coke goes... The problem with Coke is that it needs something. Like, it needs something to be better than what it is. You know? It needs something sweeter to balance it out. And it's just not balanced. Because whenever I drink a soda, I expect it to be sweet. It's supposed to be like liquid candy, basically. You know? So... Like, whenever I drink cola, I want it to balance out. It's the same reason that I don't drink rum and Coke. I drink rum and Pepsi. Because the sweetness of the Pepsi balances out the alcohol flavor of the rum. Plus, it mixes with the natural spices of the rum to give this really kind of a much more balanced drink. Whereas... Rum and Coke doesn't quite hit that. On the flip side, Coke is better with bourbon and whiskey. So, yeah, my palate is very, very specific. So, Find it to be sweet. Am I crazy? The Coke is not. Coke's bitterness comes on the back end of the taste. So, for example, in drinking that drink, the first things I feel on my tongue are the carbonization, the sugar levels, and that distinct cola flavor. Then there's this stuff that what I call the back end of it. The stuff that stays on your tongue. With Pepsi, it stays sweet. And you still have that sweet cola taste. With Coke, for me, it has always been a very bitter aftertaste. Well, not very bitter, but enough of a bitterness to where it kind of just makes me go, where I'm not too hyped about it. So, but yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. I am a cola aficionado. I prefer it to a lot of other drinks. Like, I hate coffee. I can't drink coffee. It's way too bitter. I can't even drink coffee with things. Like, I can't. You can put a bunch of stuff in coffee. I'm still going to taste the coffee, and I'm going to hate it. Which is weird, because the smell of coffee is wonderful. Like, I love the smell of it. If they were like coffee-smelling candles, I'd probably be pretty happy with them. So, are the Gundam Seed designs that good because some people keep praising it? I think that a lot of people praise Seed designs because it's nostalgic, or they actually liked designs that are fucking over-designed. Let me pull up an example. Pull up a Seed design that I don't like. So this is the Seed Astray powered red frame. I think this looks fucking stupid. Because you want to know what my first statement is when I see this? Who the fuck hit my Gundam with Get a Raise? I like Get a Robo. I don't like it in Gundam. It's a real robot show. Fuck off. Get out of here. I really don't like. I hate this design. I fucking hate it. It does not look good. It looks goofy. Why does it look goofy? What's another one that I don't like? Then there's this one. I have asked this question. I shall ask it again. Why does this have a butthole for a mouth? Why does it have butthole? Why does it have butthole mouth? Like, what the fuck? Why? Like, it's fucking stupid looking. And then it has a transformation gimmick, but its transformation gimmick is just like shitty laser beak. The fuck? Again, why? Why does it look so fucking stupid? So there's that for an example. What's another one that I fucking hated? Was it the Abyss Gundam? No, it's not the Abyss Gundam. The Abyss Gundam I like. The Abyss Gundam looks cool. Though it doesn't really look as much like a Gundam as it does like something from a Brave show. God, What is the name of it? Fuck. It's the one with the big Zam hat. What was it called? I gotta look it up. Is it the Forbidden? Excuse me. It is a Forbidden Gundam. This thing looks like a pile of shit, too. Like, the thing with this thing is that if you took off the extra bullshit off of the sides and the back, this would be a pretty alright design. Honestly, the vents look good. The cockpit hatch, the armor, the rest of it, like the center of the Gundam. You know, all of this without the backpack. This is pretty good. This isn't bad. The problem that I have with it is twofold. First, with this, it's just Temu Death Scythe. Because the backpack makes it look ridiculous. It doesn't look intimidating. Let's compare it to the genuine article. Here, let me resize the window. In comparison, it looks so much less intimidating. Like, a scythe is just the wrong weapon for it. Because there's no theme to it. It has a scythe to have a scythe. That's the only reason it has it. It's just someone in the design phase like, I didn't need a weapon. Needs a weapon. I know. We give it a scythe. Why do we give it a scythe? It's not Grim Reaper. It's not the Grim Reaper. Because shut up, you're fired. There's that. So, it doesn't look as good as the genuine article. The second problem what the fuck is with the big Zam hat? The fuck is this? Like, what the fuck is this? And what really gets me about it, this is called the High Speed Assault functionality. There's just one problem. It has 2 thrusters and nothing that is providing upward thrust. And you want it to fly. So do you want to know what's going to happen? Imagine that this screwdriver is the back of the back of that thing, like the top of the mobile suit, and this is the mobile suit. Do you want to know what it's going to do? It's just gonna fall over. It's gonna fall flat on its fucking face because there's nothing to counterbalance it. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? So it's so fucking stupid looking. Like, this is one of my biggest problems with Seed. There's so many suits that just look stupid. So yeah, like I fucking hate Gundam Seed so much, dude. It's so bad. It's so bad. Did we get away from the... Somebody just asked, like, why do people like this? It's because it's nostalgic. That's why. It's nostalgic. Because what happened was a lot of people that got into it, that got into Seed, got into anime during what we would call the anime boom, where Naruto and Bleach got huge here in the US. Seed was the Gundam show at that time because it was localized at the same time. So a lot of people associate a lot of their positive feelings of that time period with Gundam Seed. I've talked to people that, and not to mention, admittedly, a lot of the people that are into it, I've said this in the video, I will say it again, have the palate of a teenage girl. I'm just saying, you know. But yeah. It is it's when the normies got in. You know, I got into anime in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Gundam Wing, Dragon Ball Z were kind of like the big ones. Like, where I watched those shows and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." Now, as time has gone on, I like Dragon Ball Z less and less. I think the reason that I liked Dragon Ball Z as much as I did was because I was a big martial arts nerd growing up. Because I was in this weird spot where I wanted to learn martial arts because I had friends at school who were practitioners, and I thought it was the coolest shit. I thought it was fucking awesome. My dad and my mom would never let me do it, which was so weird to me because, especially with what we know now, my dad, was like, "No, it's too violent. But if you wanted to play football, which is just as violent, if not more, on your body, you know, that's fine." And so that was a thing. And then actually, wait, no, sorry, that was my mom's thought process. My dad, on the other hand, said we couldn't afford it. Well, we couldn't afford it because my dad was bad with money. That's the reason why. Lessons were not that much, you know, and they would have probably helped us out, you know, if we were in need. I would have much rather have been doing like Taekwondo or something than played any other sport, because other sports just were kind of lame to me. I never really thought they were that great. And lo and behold, now at the age of nearly 40, I know 2 martial arts. You know, I know Muay Thai and I know I know boxing. So I was always a martial arts nerd. And so the idea of you know, doing or a martial arts television show, I'm like, "Oh, this is cool." Then it ended up becoming like superhero shit. Instead, it wasn't about martial arts at all. So, but sparring like boxing. I don't know what you're saying there, Munchman. I'm sorry. Are you talking about like what was available in the area, or like what I know now? Because what was available in the area was karate and whatchamacallit, and taekwondo. That was it. Because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was not popular yet. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu didn't get popular till way later. Which I took a couple lessons for that, but I haven't gotten that far into it. Really hate it when I'm streaming and people ping me on Discord. Oh, did I want to do sparring? Yes, absolutely. I want, because that's how you get better at anything, is usage of the skills. I'm actually looking at, now that my back is healing up and stuff like that, I have a friend who actually owns a gym here in town. So I've thought about talking to him and being like, hey, can you do a favor for a friend? But getting back into that and training again, just to stay in shape and to keep learning. Because Muay Thai is fun. Boxing is fun. He's a jiu-jitsu guy though. He swears on it. He loves Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I might take him up on it. We'll have to see. So, but one thing I have to admit though, I would never try to learn Kung Fu, because Kung Fu is bullshit. It doesn't fucking work. You wanna know why? Because I can trip you in clinch range and just get on top of you and beat the shit out of you. It's bullshit. Unless you know how to stay on your feet, you're fucking done. Like, it's fucking stupid. Especially because some stances in Kung Fu, they put you're so far off balance that, like, you're like, what the, like, you're in trouble. You're in deep shit. You know? Why learn Kung Fu when you can learn trigger discipline? Fair point. Though, even if you know how to use a gun, knowing martial arts is also useful. Because then what if somebody gets the gun away from you? And you don't have, like, a knife? You know? That's when martial arts come in handy. So... they're not showing you the real techniques. If they did, they would kill you. That's a good one. I don't know. Somewhere Pai Mei is sitting in China calling me a fuckface. You know. But he's Chinese, so fuck him. That's why you have second gun. Exactly. But no, I've always been a martial arts fan. So I enjoy them. Yeah, military special forces still know hand-to-hand combat. And like military combatives training, like they go through extensive training to basically make sure that they can get to a range where the gun is effective from close range. You know, and that's why they do that, is because you don't want to be in a position where you're in close quarters with somebody, they grab your gun and you can't aim it at them. Because, just for example, when you're this close to someone, and I've got a giant piece of metal that is strapped to you that I can grab, being as big as I am, I'm going to launch your ass halfway across the room with it. Because I now have something to grab you by and control you with. Which is not what you want. That's where military combatives come in. When somebody does get close to you, there's ways to buck and shuck them off of you so that you can get to a point where you can bring your gun back up to your shoulder and fire at them. Or bring out your sidearm and take them out. Or bring your knife out. Like that stuff is paramount to the military guys. So yeah, they do hand-to-hand training. They have to know it. It's nothing too crazy. Like it's not as good as like training in an MMA gym for years on end, but it's still good enough in a war. So yeah, I think I've run out of stuff to talk about, guys. I do want to say I'm pretty stoked with how many people came by. We had like upwards of like 50 people at one point. Like, holy shit. So I need to do some stuff before I go to bed tonight. So I'm going to go do that stuff and get some sleep because I got a lot of things to do tomorrow. The last thing that I will do is give you guys some good news on other stuff that I'm working on. As of right now, Shirt Dude has told me that when our game stream's returning, I don't know. I'm still mulling about. I wasn't having that much fun at the end of it. Shirt Dude told me that after Thursday, he's hopefully going to finish the last segment of Zeta Part 2. So that will hopefully be the end of that. The second thing to announce, so we've got almost 40 people here, is that I am working on a new novel. A new novella, rather. This novella, I won't give a whole lot more details on the plot and things like that as of right now. But what I will say is this. It is horror. It is a horror story. So, once it is done, I will announce the title and all of that. And it is not going to be crowdfunded. We are putting it straight on Amazon so you guys can purchase it immediately. So, just a heads up. So, on that note, I am going to take off and call it an evening. So, hopefully everybody has a great night. And next time I stream, probably going to do some Gunpla stuff instead of video games. So, I will catch you guys later. Have a good night. Oh, by the way, I'm dropping you guys off at Lolly's stream, so go say Micah raid over there. Catch you guys later.